Every mechanic secretly buys the same handful of cars, and they're not the ones dealerships push hardest. Some of these vehicles routinely survive 250,000 miles without a major repair. Others, costing twice as much, spend half their life on a lift, bleeding their owners dry one warning light at a time. Today we're revealing the exact cars mechanics trust with their own money, their own spouse, their own kids in the back seat. Stick around, because the car sitting at number 1 might be the most trusted vehicle in America, and almost nobody talks about it. Number 8. Honda Fit. You probably walk past these every day and never notice them. The Honda Jazz, sold as the Fit in some markets, is called TARDIS-like in the repair trade. Bigger on the inside than it has any right to be, and somehow tougher than cars twice its size. Ask any technician who's owned one and you'll hear the exact same story, almost word for word, no matter what shop they work at. Here's the twist. This little hatchback thrives on abuse. Short trips, cold starts, skipped oil changes, years of neglect from a previous owner who never read the manual. Repair shops consistently report these engines, shrugging off exactly the kind of treatment that kills other small cars by year 5. No turbo to fail, no delicate electronics to babysit, no labyrinth of sensors waiting to throw a false alarm, just a simple engine that keeps going long after buyers expect it to quit, and a transmission that doesn't punish drivers for missing a service date. One independent shop owner in the Midwest has serviced the same Jazz for a college student for 6 years straight. Total repair bill outside of routine maintenance, under $300. That's almost unheard of for a car driven daily through brutal winters and stop-and-go city traffic. Picture this instead: a teenager driving to school every morning in beat-up traffic, missing an oil change here and there, forgetting to check tire pressure for months at a time, and the car simply doesn't care. That's the entire appeal. It's the automotive equivalent of a car that refuses to hold a grudge. It even holds resale value better than flashier rivals because used car buyers know exactly what they're getting. There's no guessing game, no gamble on hidden problems, just a small, dependable machine that quietly does its job year after year without asking for attention. But that hatchback still isn't what most mechanics buy for their spouse. Number 7. Mazda 3. This car embarrassed a lot of turbocharged competitors that cost thousands more. The Mazda 3 runs on Skyactiv G, naturally aspirated, no turbo, none of the forced induction complexity that quietly bankrupts other compact car owners with a single failed component. It's proof that Mazda chose to build something that rewards the driver instead of chasing a horsepower number for a spec sheet nobody actually reads. Repair shops love it for a simple reason: fewer parts means fewer ways for the car to end up on a lift. No 4-figure turbo replacement bill waiting in year 6, no boost leaks, no wastegate failures, none of the expensive surprises that plague turbocharged rivals the moment the warranty runs out. RepairPal ownership data consistently ranks this platform above class average for reliability, a rare thing for a car this fun to drive. Most manufacturers treat engaging and dependable as opposites. Mazda proved they don't have to be. There's a story mechanics love telling about this car: a Mazda 3 owner who commuted 90 minutes each way for nearly a decade, well past 180,000 miles, with nothing more than tires, brakes, and oil changes. The engine never once needed to be opened up, and that's the real surprise. A car that's actually enjoyable gets driven better, smoother inputs, less strain, less abuse on the drivetrain over years of ownership. Reliability and driving pleasure aren't opposites here. They reinforce each other, quietly, mile after mile. There's a service cost story too. Simpler engineering means simpler maintenance intervals, which means a mechanic's own family spends less time in the waiting room and more time actually using the car. If you thought that was impressive, the next car somehow costs even less to maintain, and it's the one mechanics won't stop recommending to their own parents. Number 6. Toyota Camry. The average luxury sedan might impress your neighbors in the driveway. Mechanics know it can cost 3 Camrys worth of repairs over the same ownership period. When a mechanic buys their spouse a car, this is usually the one that ends the debate instantly. No mysterious electrical gremlins draining the battery overnight. No dashboard lighting up for a fault that doesn't even exist, sending an owner into a panic over a $40 sensor. Consumer Reports has tracked this model for decades, and the pattern barely changes. Camrys routinely cross 200,000 miles on nothing but oil changes and brakes. Generation after generation, the formula stays the same. Conservative engineering, refined instead of reinvented. One shop manager tells a story of a Camry that belonged to his own mother. Bought new in 2009, still running in 2026, still on its original transmission, with over 240,000 miles on the odometer. The only major repair in that entire span was a water pump. Imagine leaving for a road trip. Everyone's packed, the kids are already arguing in the back seat, the cooler's in the trunk, and the car just starts. No drama, no dashboard warning, no delay while you troubleshoot a dead battery in the driveway. That's the entire reason this car earns so much trust from people who see broken down vehicles for a living. Insurance and repair estimates stay low too, because parts are cheap and failures are rare. A mechanic evaluating this car isn't thinking about performance numbers, they're thinking about how many fewer times their phone will ring with the car's making a weird noise call. Predictability is the product here. Not horsepower, not luxury badges, not a cabin full of screens that will need replacing in 5 years. But Toyota isn't taking the top spot with the Camry. The next entry is where mechanics send them their own kids to school every day. Quick question, how many of these cars have you actually owned? Drop it in the comments. I'm curious how many mechanics secretly agree with this list. Number 5, Honda Civic. One mechanic bought 4 of these, for himself, his wife, and both of his kids. Pop the hood on a Civic and everything you'd actually need to touch. Oil filter, spark plugs, wear components, sits right there. Easy to reach. No fighting past 6 other parts just to change a spark plug on a Sunday afternoon. No specialty tools required just to check the basics. Decades of popularity mean parts stay cheap and plentiful. No waiting weeks for a dealership-only component that costs triple what an aftermarket part would. Nearly every bolt on this car has already been documented, photographed, and explained by someone online. A Honda master technician once put it simply in an industry interview, cars this well documented rarely surprise anyone in the shop. Every possible failure has already been diagnosed 1,000 times over by someone with a wrench and a camera. There's a well-known story in repair circles about a Civic that survived a family's move across 3 states, packed to the ceiling, driven nearly non-stop for 4 days straight. No overheating, no warning lights, nothing but a routine oil change waiting on the other end. For a family watching a budget, that translates directly into lower labor bills, faster fixes, and a lot fewer stressful surprises landing in the mailbox as a repair invoice. Small issues get caught early before they quietly snowball into expensive ones. There's also a generational trust factor. Parents who grew up driving Civics now buy them for their own teenagers, creating a cycle of familiarity that keeps this car firmly planted in mechanics' own driveways, generation after generation. But if a compact car impressed you this much, wait until space actually starts to matter. Number 4, Honda CR-V. Here's what nobody expects from a bigger SUV. Fewer problems, not more. Most people assume more size means more complexity, more sensors, more systems, more things waiting to fail. The CR-V flips that assumption completely. Full cargo space, real comfort for a growing family, and a mechanical layout that stays refreshingly simple underneath all that extra room. JD Power reliability studies routinely put this SUV near the top of its class, while several flashier rivals sit near the bottom, plagued by transmission recalls, infotainment failures, and electrical gremlins that never seem to get fully resolved. One family, a mechanic's own relatives in fact, put nearly 190,000 miles on a CR-V over 11 years of daily commuting and cross-country vacations, with the only unscheduled repair being a single wheel bearing. No transmission issues, no electrical surprises, just routine service, year after year. Picture a family on a 10-hour road trip, kids asleep in the back, no warning lights, no roadside shoulder stops, no frantic search for the nearest service center in an unfamiliar town. That peace of mind is exactly why mechanics trust this SUV enough to put their own kids in it week after week without a second thought. Long-term ownership data backs this up too. CR-V owners report far fewer unplanned repair visits than owners of comparably sized competitors, which keeps both the wallet and the schedule intact. Up next, the vehicle mechanics buy the moment the family gets too big for anything else on this list. Number 3. Toyota Sienna. Older minivans built a reputation for eating transmissions alive. This one was built specifically to kill that reputation for good. The Sienna sidesteps the common engine and transmission failures that plagued minivans for decades, foreign and domestic alike. The hybrid version adds serious fuel savings on top without sacrificing an ounce of the dependability families actually need every single day. Repair shops consistently report fewer unexpected visits from Sienna owners than from any other minivan on the road. Fewer fuel stops too, thanks to a hybrid drivetrain that's been refined across multiple Toyota platforms before ever reaching this van. One Sienna hybrid owner, a technician himself, tracked his own fuel and repair costs for 5 straight years. Total unscheduled repairs, 0. Not one unplanned shop visit outside of tires and standard maintenance, despite averaging over 20,000 miles a year hauling 3 kids to school, sports, and everything in between. Think about a family of 5, gear packed to the ceiling, driving 8 hours to visit grandparents over a holiday weekend. No warning lights, no shoulder of the highway phone calls to a tow truck. Just a van that does its job and disappears into the background of a good vacation, exactly the way a vehicle should. There's a safety dimension here too. Fewer unplanned stops on unfamiliar roads means fewer moments of real vulnerability for a family stranded somewhere they don't know. That's the kind of scenario every mechanic parent actively engineers their car choice to avoid. And now, the 2 vehicles mechanics trust more than almost anything else on the road. Number 2. Toyota RAV4. Hybrid. Most drivers assume hybrid systems are fragile. This one quietly destroys that assumption, one service record at a time. Toyota has spent years and millions of real-world miles refining this exact hybrid system. The result, minimal mechanical wear plus 40+ miles per gallon in a vehicle that never asks owners to gamble on unproven tech chasing this year's trend. Battery longevity is the #1 fear buyers walk in with. It's also the fear this vehicle answers best. These hybrid batteries have a track record of outlasting the ownership expectations families set for themselves, often running well past the point most owners assumed they'd need a replacement. There's a taxi fleet story worth mentioning here. RAV4 hybrids used in high-mileage rideshare and delivery fleets have logged well past 200,000 miles on their original hybrid battery packs, with only routine maintenance in between. That kind of real-world torture test is exactly what convinces skeptical mechanics. Consumer Reports and J.D. Power both place this hybrid system among the most dependable powertrains sold in America today. Not just among hybrids, among everything on the road, gas or electric. For a family that wants SUV space and hybrid savings without hybrid headaches, this is where mechanics park their own vehicle, literally in their own driveway, not just on a recommendation list they hand out to customers. Which brings us to the car nearly every technician in the country agrees on completely. Number 1. Toyota Corolla. One Corolla in New Zealand crossed 1 million miles on its original engine. Not a rebuild, not a replacement. The original engine still turning after a distance most cars never come close to in their entire lifespan. That's not a fluke. Standard and hybrid Corollas alike pair simple engines with traditional forgiving transmissions built to survive delayed maintenance instead of punishing it the way more delicate cars do. Delivery fleets, the vehicles driven hardest, serviced least, and abused the most on a daily basis, routinely push these past 300,000 miles with nothing more than basic upkeep. RepairPal consistently ranks this among the lowest repair frequency vehicles sold anywhere in the world, a title it's held for years running. There's a story that circulates in nearly every repair shop at some point. A delivery driver's Corolla, driven 6 days a week for over a decade, engine never opened, transmission never touched, the odometer eventually rolling past 400,000 miles before the body itself finally gave out from rust, not mechanical failure. Resale value seals it. A car this trusted holds its price in the used market far better than competitors, meaning the total cost of ownership drops before a single repair bill even shows up on paper. For a mechanic, that's the entire dream. A car they never think about twice. It starts every morning without fail. It runs without complaint through summer heat and winter cold alike. It disappears from their worry list completely, for decades, not years. Here's the pattern behind all 8 of these picks. Mechanics don't chase status or horsepower with their own money. They chase simplicity, proven parts, and cars that flat out refuse to break down. That's insider knowledge most buyers never get. Now you have it. Drop a comment. Which one of these 8 would you actually buy for your family? And next week, we're revealing the exact cars mechanics refuse to own, even when they're offered at half price. Subscribe now because you won't want to miss it.